Hello, happy Tuesday. I want to do a book haul. I don't have that many books to haul and I'm calling this a September book haul, but technically it's an August one that I never got around to filming. But bear with me and stick around to the end because I'm doing another Sublime giveaway of one of these books, and if you want to enter that would be lovely. Book number one is a massively popular book from a couple of years ago. It's called How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. It's spelled Caitlin, but I'm pretty sure she pronounces it Caitlin, but if I'm wrong, do correct me. I bought this in the airport in America before I flew home last month, and I had it finished before my plane had even taken off because of delays and things that you don't care about. But it's fantastic. It's part autobiography, part sort of feminist guide. She sort of wants to speak to the every woman and tell them that being a feminist is okay. This book is incredibly funny. I was laughing out loud on an airplane that was full of people staring at me, which is always good. And although I don't agree with all of her feminist notions, I think it's a very important book because she speaks to all women of all ages and all backgrounds and basically makes you feel good about calling yourself a feminist and about what that entails. So there's lots of anecdotes from her teenage life, stories about her engagement, her marriage, her kids, and all coming around to address why female empowerment is so darn important in the world we live in. I don't read this if you're under a certain age that you know you shouldn't be reading things like this. It has a few pages that if your parents picked it up and saw you were reading it, they might be a little concerned, so there's your warning. Moving on to another book I picked up in the same airport bookshop. This is Just Kids by Patti Smith. I think this was first released in 2010. If you don't know who Patti Smith is, then you probably wouldn't enjoy this book. But if you don't, Patti Smith is a singer-songwriter, a poet, an artist, and she was wrapped up in this 1970s New York culture where they were changing the world with their art, and she is in love with this guy. This is Robert Mapplethorpe, who is best known for his photography. He was also an artist at the time. They meet in New York and they have this wonderful passionate love affair, and they're living for their art and they're doing all the things that people in the 70s seem to be doing that we don't really do anymore. It's very well written. She writes beautifully. It's very touching, the relationship between the two. And it's interjected with lots and lots of photos, which I found really interesting. I enjoyed this. I would have enjoyed it more if I had more of an interest in her and her work as an artist or his work as a photographer, but it was a nice read. This is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This came out 2 years ago, I think, in 2011, and it's by a man called Ransom Riggs. I first heard of this book because Ransom Riggs is a friend of John Green's, and John has talked about this book numerous times, and I've wanted to read it but I just never got my hands on it. I loved this book. It was so fantastic. I can compare it to John Green in terms of narrative voice. Jake, the narrator, is a 15-year-old and he's kind of sarcastic, kind of funny, kind of wants a girlfriend, and I think that can be compared to a lot of John Green's books. So Jake is this 15-year-old American teenager who has a Polish grandfather who his whole life has been telling him these stories of these peculiar children in a children's home in Wales that he lived in during the Second World War. He was seeking refuge as a boy, and Jake grows up sort of believing these stories and then just grows out of them because they're stories about floating girls and kids with superpowers, essentially, and he grows out of it. His grandfather dies, and then Jake realises maybe these stories weren't so fictional after all, and he heads to Wales to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, where everything happens. The best thing in my opinion about this book is, similar to Patti Smith, you get lots of photographs. However, Ransom Riggs' photographs are not staged or not created by him. He sort of scoured vintage shops and he just collected hundreds of these old photos and he used them to sort of complement his narrative and also to creep you out in many places. A lot of them are just a little bit weird and not nice if you're easily scared. And the most exciting thing about this book is that its sequel, Hollow City, will be out next year, so you should definitely read this if you haven't already and prepare yourself for the sequel. This is the book that I have chosen to do a giveaway of on my Sublime page. I'm wearing a Sublime t-shirt because they gave me a t-shirt. They're offering to give you this book if you enter my giveaway. Sublime are wonderful. So there'll be a link in the description with all the details, and you should go and do that because you should definitely read this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't going to talk about this next book until I review it, however it just arrived on my doorstep as I was preparing to film and I thought it was like fate trying to tell me to tell you about it. This is Fearsome Dreamer by Laurie Eve, and the lovely people at Hotkey Books sent me an advance review copy, so this isn't actually what it looks like. I will link you to their website where you can see the lovely cover and you can read a little bit about it. It is a young adult fantasy novel that is tied up with ideas of dreams and obsession and betrayal, so I am so excited to start this book. It's released next month and you can expect a proper review from me then when I have finished it. I also wanted to mention these. If you follow me on Twitter you may have already seen them. These are 1893 editions of genera. There are two because it came in 2 volumes. 1893. These books are 100 years older than I am. These were a birthday present from my future sister-in-law, thank you, and I'm besotted with them. They're incredible, but I'm also sort of scared to touch them, but I just wanted to show you because I think they're beautiful. That concludes my book haul for this month. I know it was small, but it was dedicated. It had some heart, it had some passion. Go and enter my giveaway to win Ransom Riggs' Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children if you want to. There will be a link in the description, and you should read the description because of reasons. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what's going on in your life because it's nice to talk. I get lonely sometimes.